Welcome to the Marketing Revolution podcast. This is the underground movement of savage marketers from all over the world. We are not Fortune 500 companies. We are real entrepreneurs with real businesses that have one major thing in mind: to set goals and devour them daily. Because we understand that everyone wants to eat, but only savage marketers are willing to do the hunt. Now let's get this revolution started. Hey, what's up, everybody? John Hiley here with the Marketing Revolution podcast and the Marketing Savage Facebook group. Coming to you today with another savage as fuck interview with my boy, Dan Ward. What's going on, Dan? How you doing, brother?
Dan motherfucking Ward. I was hoping for something kind of like a little spice to it like that.
You know your name always sounds better with a motherfucker in front of it. Motherfucking Ward.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. I like it. Dude, it is a lovely day outside. It's going to be 75 degrees here in Arkansas, which is insane because it was negative, I guess negative zero. It was like, I guess 2 weeks ago. So it's kind of wild. We're all going to have pneumonia probably because of that, but
yeah, no shit, man. No shit. Yeah, it's it's actually very nice up here in fucking Ohio too, man. I've been enjoying the day, walking out, feeling it up. I had a day this week though, man. I talked about this on an earlier podcast that, dude, I think like what happens to me is I'll work so hard and I'll put in so much effort into everything that I'm doing. So last week we actually ran a big sale for the Marketing Savage Inner Circle, and ended up coming down to Texas early on Tuesday for my wife's birthday, and went from one place to the next, to the next, to the next. And I'm going to tell you, probably one of the hardest things, one of the funnest things that I like to do is mingling at the Apex Executive. And that's where I met Dan. But that's also tough, man. You almost can't even fucking talk by the time that weekend's done and over with. Finally, that shit all hit me on Monday, dude. I came in here, I couldn't even like hold my eyes open. I'm sitting here in my chair like this. And I'm like, what I got to do when? All right, I get up, like, get my energy on, try to like get my energy, do it. And then I'll just sit back in my chair. And I finally told my wife, I'm like, shit, like I'm going to bed early tonight and I'm sleeping in late in the morning. And now I feel refreshed as fuck. But, everybody talks about working and grind and hustle, but occasionally, man, you got to fucking recharge that battery too, man. Speaking of that, you, Dan, when I first met you, one of the very first things that I told you was that I believe that people needed to hear your voice, because I listened to you talk at Apex Executive, and, I was impressed by all the things that you said. And at that time, you were talking about starting a gutter protection company. And essentially what that is, guys, I'll let Dan tell a little bit more, but that's the things that they put over top of your gutters that won't allow leaks and stuff like that. And you don't have to clean them, things like that. And you were actually talking about that back then. And then just not too long ago, you started this company. It's going gangbusters. Why don't you tell us, number one, a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background, and then we'll step into, some of your savage marketing tactics to get this business rolling.
Hell yeah, man. So my name's Dan Ward. I actually live here in the Central Arkansas area. And kind of a little backgrounder. I feel like I have done everything to check the box on like this is what the American norms kind of make you do, right? I went to a small town school, went to college because everyone's saying, oh, you got to go to college. And the entire time that I was in college, I was kind of thinking like, wait a second, you're teaching college level biology. Are you a biologist? And either way, I just kind of realized pretty quickly that everyone that was teaching me something was probably barely getting by in life. I know it sounds terrible to say, but I don't know.
It's the truth.
It's kind of like, I don't know. I kind of thought, look, if you're so damn good at math, then why are you not a mathematician or an actuary? They're giving us career advice that they're not taking. So either way, I continued on, finished college. And at the time, I was actually working at FedEx Freight, which is supposed to be a pretty awesome job. And it was actually pretty good. But I knew the whole time, like, dude, I'm going to graduate college and I'm about to make some money with FedEx, right? That's what everyone kind of would think. So I graduate, went and told my supervisor, I said, hey, man, I graduated, what's up? And he said, oh, that's awesome. Well, hey, we can send you to Memphis, which is the main hub, and you can be a third shift supervisor, pay was like 42 grand a year. I was like, oh my God. Like, I just spent who knows how much money on this sheet of paper that I've been told I have to get, right? So either way, that kind of definitely, amped up my mindset of like, I can't depend on the societal norms and everyone else to kind of get me where I'm supposed to be, I guess. And I had been checking the boxes of like the good old boy system, and it wasn't working. I knew I didn't want to sit here and wait, 20 years with this random 401k with the company. So I hope they don't fire me the whole time just to find success and some money. So either way, that I feel like that was kind of the start of the mindset shift. I started diving pretty heavily into, growth development books, business management books. I just kind of thought I want to kind of go that route. I got into corporate sales, which I knew that would be the fastest track to making six figures, which it was. It worked out well. And when you're making 100 grand in Arkansas, you got some deep pockets. I mean, that's all there is. Same thing for Ohio, I can imagine. It's a good living wage. And either way, so I mean, I probably spent who knows how many years in the six-figure corporate America kind of world. And I guess I knew the whole time that I was there, it's like, well, this is great if you want to have those golden handcuffs. You're still in that same position of you make six figures, you got your 401k and all this stuff they try to give you to keep you there. But they would also, I was in pharmaceutical sales. So, I mean, I saw every 6 months or every year at least, they would do layoffs. And you're literally just standing in line waiting to get fired and lose all your income. So that in combination with already kind of having the entrepreneurial spirit, I had numerous little startups here and there, everything from like a vinyl decal company to a hot dog cart business. It was pretty insane. I actually built it up, sold it, paid for our wedding. So either way, I feel like I've always had a pretty solid business savvy mindset. And either way, so that's kind of a quick backgrounder. And then during the middle of COVID, me and my wife had already told each other, we were like, look, we were fixing to blow it up that year before COVID was even a thing. We were looking to increase our income streams. Like we need to have more revenue streams coming in, whether that's through side hustles, investments, etc. I had actually been working for about a year to launch a barbershop, and it wasn't going like I wanted it to. I wasn't willing to pull the trigger because I knew I needed a certain number of staff members that were skilled. Either way, that's kind of on the back burner for the past year now. And then COVID hits, and everyone in the world just, tucked their tail and sat there at home. And I think people that they were honestly waiting for the government to just come bail them out. I knew it wasn't going to happen.
That was so weird to me to see people actually do that. That was just so weird because when COVID hit, man, it just ignited something inside of me because I like challenges. Yes. And it immediately, like, there was days that I totally forgot we were even dealing with it because I was so fucking ingrained in my work. And we opened up a new business model during COVID that launched and went phenomenal. It's bigger than anything that I've ever launched in the past. And, it was an incredible year for us, but I kept preaching that during this entire thing. I'm like, number one, if you're not going to be working in your business, it's a great time to be working on your business. Yep. Because when you come out of this, you want to be the one standing at the top. Yep. And then the next thing I kept preaching, I was like, social media. This is all people did during COVID. It was it's like a TV station that's saturated with your ideal clients and customers. Get this fucking shit perfected. But we still have the same motherfuckers today that was bitching about the same shit a year ago. And they're still doing the same shit now and nothing changed for them. And they want to blame a fucking virus. Nah, man. I know people that came the fuck up during this time. The fuck up. And doing exactly what you do. Or shifting, pivoting, if there ever was a time, it was then.
Oh yeah. But hey, don't worry though, man. Those people have waited and they're fixing to get a check for $2,000 fucking dollars. Woo!
Is that what they're giving away? I thought it was like less than that.
Oh, I don't know. It might be. I just saw something about that, which neither of us will be getting that check for sure. But I don't fucking want that check. I would much rather have 6 to 7 figures that we've generated versus a simple $2,000 check for the whole year. So either way, during when COVID hit, all we saw, and I know you saw the same thing, man, construction companies out of the wazoo, they actually were having to limit supplies at Home Depot and Lowe's because people were sitting at home and they noticed all these problems with their house. And I was like, oh my God, we got to get in the construction world somehow. So it kind of starts right there. And this is where I think that anyone can implement this. And if you do it poorly, if you're a piece of shit and you don't follow through on your business, then you will be out of business quickly. But it's kind of like if you look at the construction market, it's like, okay, well, what are some like niche areas that have good profit margins, and really it's not a sexy area, like if you do bathroom remodels, it takes a lot of capital to get that job done. It takes a lot of skilled labor. It's going to be a higher ticket price, but they're going to walk in that bathroom and go, man, this looks amazing. Or I love that vanity, and I didn't want to go that route because I didn't want to have to deal with something sexy like that. And either way, I kind of went through a few random areas and we landed at gutter protection, right? And it seems so weird. I don't know anything about gutters. I don't care about gutters, right? But I mean, there's really only one big dog in the whole country. That's, it's Leaf Filter and maybe Leaf Guard. That's about it. They're pretty much the big dog in the room. And that's kind of unique because just think, there's not really like one major roofing company I don't know of in the whole country, like the Walmart of roofing,
Right.
So I was kind of like, okay, well, we now know that. And from that standpoint, it's really easy to pull the Newton effect where you're going to mimic all their great behaviors, right? And I mean, it's like that should be flattering to them. It's like, well, you guys are doing great. What are some bad things they're doing? Or some things that maybe people don't like? If you look at the reviews online, they tell you, like
absolutely.
Do your market research and go, okay, well, what do people like? What do they don't like? And then let's see what we can mimic out of this and get rid of. So overwhelmingly, people don't like their pricing. They start super high and then work way, they just discount down. People are looking for honesty. They don't really want to play the gimmicky price game. And especially in that market, because your target audience is probably going to be seniors that don't want to climb ladders to clean gutters, right? So in my mind, it's kind of like from the savior standpoint, it's like, look, we can actually do a good deed, give a great service, a great product, and not take advantage of a senior citizen on price gouging, And
yeah, because there's some that will just say yes regardless.
Absolutely.
And they bank on that, and that's terrible. But they bank on that senior citizen just saying yes, and they're like, "Wow, we just sealed a $10,000 job, but it's only going to be 30 years payments of, $24.99 per month." And so they actually bank on that. And they of course they got people that have that will come down, that will say no. But man, there's a lot of senior citizens. It's just fucking terrible. It reminds you of like somebody ripping off your grandma or something like that.
Right.
And that being a part of their core business model is just it's terrible, man.
Yeah. And it's kind of, this actually relates a lot to where you kind of dominate the market in the paintless dent repair. And when the first time we ever met, when you mentioned that, I was thinking, which I don't know anything about dent repair, except for what I've seen on TV, like the chip foos and stuff like that, right?
Sure.
And I'll never forget, man. I was just thinking, like, what in the fuck does this guy do? But I love it, And I remember actually on our way back, I was talking to my wife Amy, and I was like, dude, that guy John's he's a savage. I love it. As far as, because you didn't just go in there like, hey, we want to do okay. Like, you went in there and you've taken over the paintless dent repair market as far as training, products, supplies, everything. I love it. And I, to some extent, think we're kind of doing that just only in the gutter world, but that's our ultimate goal. As far as, I mean, we're seeing 6-figure months right now. We're weeks backed up. Actually, today we're going to pick up a truck for a gutter machine, take it off to get it wrapped. I mean, things are booming as far as the gutter world goes, but it's just like, I know some people go, man, we're making it, we're doing so good. But in my mind, I'm like, shit, we're like just now going up that hill. I mean, we got, on our pipeline, we've got everything from the conversation of franchising this out, licensing, nationwide distribution networks for a patented product. And we're just getting warmed up, And I feel like that's the exact same stage you were at. I can imagine that people are like, man, you're doing great, John. And you're probably thinking, I'm just getting fucking started.
Well, it's kind of like Henry Ford was asked the question one time, like, how much is enough money? And what he said was, a little more.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
That's how much enough is. And at the bottom line, that's the and when I say money, actually, I coach on money. And one of my last coaching calls in the inner circle was about money. And I talk about that in a specific way that we call it value certificates, right?
Yep.
Because the way I look at it is the more value you can bring to the world, the more money is going to come in return. The more you can fall into your purpose. I kind of like that you were talking about actually helping out the elderly population and stuff like that, because that can be a core value in your business that drives a purpose beyond, like you said, you don't give a fuck about gutters, but what you do give a fuck about is the elderly people that are being taken advantage out there. So, you're in the market to clean it up, make it better. And that also gives you a good solid chunk of the market share, because you're able to come in at a lesser cost with lower expenses. And the last time I talked to you, you were talking about even getting them expenses much lower, of course. So, as an entrepreneur, we're always looking, how can we decrease the expenses, cut out a middleman, and become a direct distributor of whatever product or whatever service it is that we're providing. And we all go through this. Even when I went through tool manufacturing, the first tool company that I started with, I found out was fucking ripping me off, but I had to start with them, right? I had to start with them. And then we found the next and the next. And later on, I got into licensing and all that kind of stuff. One of the things I want to touch on here, Dan, because it's so relevant to a conversation I had with one of my advisors yesterday, the golden handcuffs thing. The golden, you were talking earlier about the corporate golden handcuffs. And in all honesty, that is actually a really good learning lesson for all of us to understand as business owners. How do you bring your employees in, but also seal the deal with golden handcuffs? And one of the things that we were talking about is on all levels of all of our companies, we do an owner's 401k, which also gives matching 401k for any of our employees and things like that. And when I was talking to him about different ways that I can put away money as an owner into that owner's 401k and like trump that up to like $300,000 non-taxable. And we actually came up with that figure, but it also involved when we're hiring employees to give them something to this nature. Okay. So, you come on board, you work this, you're going to make X amount of dollars, right? Per year. Now it's going to be less than the normal that you would get paid in this position by about $10,000. But here's what we're going to guarantee. We're going to guarantee in 20 years on your 401k, we have $1 million for you.
Nice.
You know what I mean? And that actually opens me up to the ability to dump a ton more of personal into that owner's 401k. Like I said, we broke down the mathematic formula and got it to like, where normally you can put in about 45, 50 grand, but it's some sort of profit sharing program that I can put in $300,000. It's non-taxable. And these are the kind of things that as owners that we want to look at, because number one, you do want to get golden handcuffs with your employees, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The more that you can do that, the more incentive. And the second thing that I was talking to my advisor about yesterday was that you're going to hire the right type of people if you structure it this way, because you want long-term thinkers anyway. You want people that are looking down the road. They're not just looking to jump from job to job the first time somebody offers them, an extra $1 an hour, right?
Oh yeah.
So that whole thing struck me at the beginning, because the corporations are great at doing that. But as business owners, you want to not only increase employee retention, but also increase how much your business is worth when you sell it. Like if you sell your business and you got a bunch of golden handcuffs in there, man, the next buyer is going to look at it like, oh, fuck yeah. I'm not going to have to worry about replacing every single fucking employee you have.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think the biggest kicker is from an entrepreneur standpoint, it's all about sharing our vision, right? And I think that sharing your vision goes hand in hand with the golden handcuffs, because if they buy into your vision, they're cuffed. But in corporate America, you're fucking cuffed either way. Don't care what your vision is. It changes every 6 months as soon as leadership changes out, So it's really hard to get that buy-in. But
yeah,
I say employees.
That's the downfall
we have right now. Oh yeah,
that's the downfall of corporate America. And I truly feel like the downfall of corporate America is that like companies like AT&T or companies that like Verizon Wireless that will offer very shitty customer service. Right now we've got the ability, like everybody's grandma's got the ability to go online and tell everybody she fucking knows that a company, they're a bunch of shit bags, right?
Yep.
And I truly believe that that's the great thing about the internet is that we will evolve to the points where companies are actually forced to do what they should have been doing from the beginning and just
Yes.
taking care of people and honoring their commitments.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. The days of doing massive layoffs and going, shh, shh, no compete clause, you can't, non-disclosure, you can't mention it. Like, those days are over with, buddy. Everyone's going to know about it. And they're going to know
Yeah.
that you're a piece of shit company, and then have fun. I mean, I don't know as far as in the employee market. I can only imagine most people nowadays are going to Indeed, going to Monster, or wherever to get these job reviews. I mean, if
Yeah.
I were looking for a job and I see that they have like a 1 star and they're a piece of shit to their employees, I'm out of here, man.
Yeah.
We're out. I mean, just I can view it from what I don't, as far as Google, Amazon standpoint. I know I would definitely have differing life views than what they would have, but I do always think, you know what? There's a programmer at Google that is invaluable. He could go anywhere else in the world and make a fortune. How does Google keep that
Yeah.
guy? So that's what I want to do.
So something also that you hit on that I really liked about building this business model, and something I was thinking about the other day was I was thinking about how much mentorship has helped me throughout my entire career doing this, right? And I
Yep.
stepped back and I thought about it, man, because I'm going to be honest here. I'm going to break down something, and some people may not like this, but whenever I played video games when I was a kid, I would always look for the cheat guides. And I would always find that written fucking cheat guide that would teach me how to bypass every single level. Right.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to sit there on this level of Contra. When I was playing Contra, you remember the game Contra?
Oh, hell
Up,
yeah.
down, left, right. And some of you guys who are older might remember this. Up, down, left, right, BA, select, start. 100 lives, bitches. I was looking for the codes. I was looking for any way to take myself to the next level without doing all the fucking grunt and grind work. You can call that what you want, but I think a lot of people in business, they can't get out of their own fucking way. They would rather fail over and over and over again and get stuck in a level when they could easily figure out how to get past that level by number one, like what you did. You reverse engineered the success of another company. And you broke it down. You essentially wrote your own cheat guide for that company, right?
Absolutely.
And the second thing that you did, you found out, what they were doing wrong, right? So what mistakes you were improving upon what they were doing wrong by using the feedback of their clients and customers inside the comments. The first guy that told me about that was Dan Flashman. He talked about that way back in the day about reading your competitors' reviews and specifically looking at the negative ones and building your company not only on their strengths, but strengthening everything that they're doing wrong.
Yep.
Everything that they're doing wrong to make a solid company. And, I was always 100 about, figuring out how you can get there. Every aspect of the way, guys, I hired somebody who knew more about the shit than I did, who would immediately level me up and get me past a certain level. Because guess what, y'all? Here's the thing. Money comes back. I keep working. Money always comes back. Money's coming in today. Money's coming in tomorrow. The shit that doesn't come back is fucking time.
Yep.
And Dan could have sat here and tried to write his own playbook, tried to use his own form of creativity, which he is using his form of creativity, but it's based off of them negative reviews. Right. So he's being smart about it. And I talk about this. There's frameworks everywhere. You got to look for a framework and don't try to reinvent the wheel. But once you become good, you'll actually be able to improve upon whatever it is that they're doing.
Absolutely. And the thing is, that's from the business structure standpoint, and from a marketing standpoint, it's the exact same conversation. Nothing stops me right now from signing up from all my competition. As far as I can go to their website, I can sign up, I can follow their funnels, I can get their estimates, I can get their quotes, right? But on that same note, you can start looking I did this. I made a list of all my competitors, and kind of from the omni-channel standpoint, I was like, where are they advertising heavily? And not very many were on social media, believe it or not. And I kind of thought, well, there's a reason why a billion-dollar company doesn't heavily invest in social media marketing. It's probably because it doesn't fucking work. You know what I mean? And I know that sounds crazy to say. Obviously, you got to have brand awareness, but that didn't tell me to abandon social media. That just told me find where the number one lead source is. And the thing is, this is where most people give up. They'd go, I'm going to make my own. I'm going to do it my own way. No, man, they get most of their leads from trade shows, convention centers, They're actually doing heavy advertising on Pinterest, because I believe it's like 90% of people on Pinterest, it's like the marketplace would be females. They're probably sitting at home thinking, hey, I'm tired of my husband Joe wasting all weekend cleaning gutters. Boom, they're going to hit them up. So you got to find where they're winning at, and you can do what they're doing when they're winning. I advertise on all the same platforms now, but also being smaller and more agile, we can pick and choose where we're going to spend at. And you'd be surprised how affordable it is to get TV commercials. I don't know if you've had to deal with that in the past or anything, but that's a huge lead generation source.
Dude, you're gonna laugh at this, man. So back in the day, I was a subcontractor, but I actually managed a place. It was one of the deals where I was actually an employee, but I talked the company into paying me as a subcontractor. Back then I was let's see, I was working when I was 18 years old. I became the manager of the place, and it was a place called Waterworks Car Wash, which was about $1 million car wash back then. And we ended up doing this whole thing because, I was their advertiser back then, literally 18 years ago. We're talking about, 23 years ago. I was doing all their marketing campaigns and things like that. And we actually, do you remember that old show called We Want to Pimp Your Ride?
Hell yeah, with Exhibit.
Remember that?
Sure.
Pimp Your Ride? We literally did commercials called We Want to Clean Your Ride. And we did them just like We Want to Pimp Your Ride, because that was such a popular show back then. And we launched it and we just aired it everywhere. And we had all these crazy green screens, lightning flashing behind us, like all this type of shit. But back then, commercials were a little bit more expensive. You could purchase. We found that your best bet, they were like $40 to run one commercial. But if it was like primetime Fox News, that's what you were going to get for $40. But they got this bullshit where you can pay like $2 a commercial and it can run at any time. And that's the fucking worst ones, because they're going to be running your commercial during the middle of the night when they're playing nothing but infomercials. And I don't know about y'all, but unless your ideal client is a weird person who watches infomercials in the middle of the night, they'll say, oh, well, sometimes it may land on prime time, which is bullshit.
Yeah, once out of 800,
Once out of 800. So there's that aspect as well. But back then, I would imagine it's a lot less now, because back then we're talking about TV was the thing. It's where everybody was at. It's where all the eyeballs were at.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of crazy now. They have it set up, which I'm not like a fucking media buyer. We have someone do all this for us, but it's pretty crazy, man. Like, we can even kind of pick and choose what shows we come on before or after. Like, for example, Judge Judy. I mean, I guess people that watch Judge Judy are also in the same market of buying gutters, because it works out pretty well. It's weird, man. Like, like these random hunting or fishing shows, just stuff like that. We can get pretty narrow on the focus, which is, it's pretty neat.
Yeah, that's cool, because really, like you said, your ideal clients and customers are a little bit older. They're probably still watching TV quite a bit.
Yep.
And I guess right now is a cheaper time. One of the things that we found was talk radio was actually good for us at one point. We would dominate, because we were in a very conservative community. So we would dominate talk radio and dominate Fox as much as we possibly could. And one of the reasons why we would do that, you actually find that a Fox viewer is going to have a higher income, higher net worth than I think you got the other thing on CNN and stuff like that. But to be honest with you, the little community that we were in would have been pissed off if they seen us advertising on some liberal news station. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So we played that whole conservative route and went deep into Fox News. And man, I'll tell you, there's so many people that just walked in and was like, yeah, I was watching Hannity and seen you. Or yeah, I was watching Glenn Beck back then, and seen you. And was incredible. And they all had money. They all had boats. Some of them had multiple cars. And then later on, we actually found that car shows was a big place, because people that have like very nice old custom cars have high net worth. In fact, they say the average net worth of somebody that has old custom cars is over $1 million.
Yeah.
So people take that out of people got to understand that as well. Man, we started doing some things like, for instance, the higher net worth are people who go into Costco. So, and we still do this for some companies. We couldn't find places to geo-target their community to get the right type of people. But a lot of their people were Costco customers. So we geo-target bubble a Costco and get everybody that walks in and out of that bitch. So you walk in and out of Costco, you're on our fucking radar now, motherfuckers. Wait till you're going to be seeing our ad.
Hell yes.
Like that's the type of shit that you got to think about being a marketer. We even got a place called Dorothy Lane Market down here that is a very high end grocery store. Like one fucking thing of groceries, you're like $500 to $700 when you walk out of there. And but the place is blown up. I mean, they're great food, incredible food there. And we've geo-target their store. We've went after all their Instagram fans, and brought them in as fans of ours and our service-based company. So ideally, I guess what Dan's telling you guys here is you need to find out where your ideal customers, where their eyeballs are at, where they go, what they're doing, and make sure you're fucking standing there waiting for them to show up.
Absolutely. You got to be in front of them. And the thing is, I think that customers, this is my assumption here, but I'm pretty certain I'm on spot. The customers will appreciate that you went and found them to some extent. I'm not saying go out there and fucking stalk them. You know what I mean? But they'll understand like, oh, I get it. They're at a boat and RV show. Well, that makes sense because I have a $100,000 Winnebago and I drive it for months away from my house. So I guess it would make sense that I don't want my gutters getting clogged up and messing my roof up, my foundation up. Good job, Dan. We'll give you our business,
Yeah. And then also, like you said, man, just the elderly market makes sense because they don't want to get up on the roof anymore. They don't want to hire people to come out all the time. It's like that maintenance-free lifestyle that you're tapping into. I believe it's more of a lifestyle business, man. That's the way I would promote it. I would promote it like, just somebody sitting on their porch, like drinking some lemonade, and all of a sudden, boom, up to their gutters, and, you see this nasty gutter that's about ready to overflow on top of them. It's about ready to ruin their day. You got something, all of a sudden, you got this guy up there digging with his gloves on. And then you pay to have somebody like slip off the roof and fall onto the ground and like, use their life alert, right? I'm falling and I can't get up. And then like, fuck all that. Use Guardian Gutter Guard, right?
Yes. Dude, this is, I feel like this would be the perfect place to talk about this too. So I read an article, this is months ago. I don't know where the fuck I saw it at, but it was talking about advertising on adult networks, porn sites, right? Have you heard much about this? Because I feel like when I read these articles, I'm kind of in tune with like Google ads, Facebook ads. I kind of know what cost per lead would be, somewhere in that range. And I was thinking, it said like, this is probably incorrect, but it was like pennies on the dollar cost difference, advertising on a porn website versus social media. And I was like, there's no way. Anyways, so long story short, I was like, dude, I got to see if this is true. And it's also kind of comical because in my mind, I was like, dude, we could make a fucking porno advertisement that says something like, get your head out of the gutter, right? And that has obviously nothing to do with what these people have their mind on right now, but it was kind of like that guerrilla marketing kind of standpoint.
Yeah.
Dude, I put $50 towards a 2-day. It was just 24 hours because I was like, this is pretty dumb. I don't want to like be known as like the porno gutter company, right?
Yeah.
So either way, we ran an ad and we just did it in Arkansas. You can do the same thing for just like Facebook. Dude, it was crazy. We had like, these are kind of like a little off, but it was like we had like 1,500 website views and like, man, I want to say 150 clicks through the funnel. And I was thinking, who the fuck goes up there to tug one out and they end up clicking on a goddamn gutter ad? I mean, I was like, that is some weird shit.
They might remember you because they're in an emotional state, right? It might be like implanted into their mind. You know what I mean? So they're just sitting down, they're getting their shit ready, like, here we go. Bam. All right. Nobody's home. This is like a real jerk off. Nobody's in the other room. I gotta hide, or anything. This is full on,
Yeah. I'm full nude right now, fixing to tug one out. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you get hit with a gutter ad, right? And you're like, it bakes in their subconscious, dude. Yeah. And then next thing you know, they're out there, they forget about it in the moment. And then they're out there like, I probably could use one of them gutter guards.
Yeah. They're getting their box of tissues put away.
It puts in their subconscious, and now they get horny when they think about gutter guards, right? They're like, oh man, I just can't God, I feel funny every time I think about gutter guards, man.
Yeah.
That's sexy as hell.
Sir, my guy came here for an estimate today, and he said you had a raging boner. It's kind of weird. We're going to come back later on.
My pants are pleated.
Right? Yeah. It
man.
It was pretty interesting. I feel like that truly made the omni-channel approach. It's like we're hitting TV, radio, direct to customer through mailers. We're doing every kind of marketing. I thought, dude, that's the last piece of the puzzle, just so I can say I did it. So
yeah, man. Cool. So what are you finding out's working the best, man? Do you guys do like a door to door as well?
So we do. As far as it's kind of like our best lead by far is TV. And dude, I'm telling you, as far as when they see the commercial, it's actually like a 5 or maybe 4 minute business showcase commercial. And it gives a chance for us to convey our vision. Here's what we do. We make it very clear, like, hey, we're not the cheapest out there, but if you want the cheapest, feel free to go to Facebook Marketplace and trust your largest asset to whoever the hell that guy is, right? So we got a pretty clean message there. But every time that commercial plays, we probably get, I don't know, 5 to 10 phone calls roughly. And those are people that are saying, hey, I want you to come to my house and I want to get gutters and gutter protection. Boom. It's pretty much I'd say 95% close rate.
Yeah, that's incredible, man. That's a huge return on your investment. But you know, and I talk about this a lot, man. There's a dude who is part of executive, our boy Jason, who like sells or he actually buys insurance businesses from insurance in the insurance industry. And we were talking about him, and, you know, he was trying to describe his ideal customer. And he was talking about, like, I don't know how I'm going to reach them on social media. You know, some old guy who literally owns an insurance company is looking to retire. And Jason wants to come in and buy this guy's business. And I looked at him and said, why do you care about social media, man? Like, you're successful now. What have you been doing? What have you been doing? Right. And, you know, I'm like, double down on writing the letters, double down on the phone calls, double down on the visits, whatever it takes to buy these insurance agencies. You need to like double down on that. Like, stop thinking about social media. I mean, as much as I say as a marketer, it's the fucking truth. If social media doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it does, it does. And that just really depends on your ideal clients and customers and how often, you know, their eyeballs are on this thing called social media, because some people don't. I believe it's a dying breed, right? You know, it's definitely a dying breed. So in the future,
literally dying breed,
literally a dying breed of people that are not, you know, on social media all the time. But you got to recognize that, and you got to recognize where your leads are coming in, and then double down on that shit.
Yeah, I feel like when you know what your ideal customer is, and you can say it like no big deal, you know where they're at, you know what you're selling clearly and confidently, and then you can really quickly determine what your lead's worth. Like, okay, let's say if every lead for us is worth $3,000. If I did a direct mailer, which I can, let's say, target one city, we'll say, I don't know what, Little Rock, Arkansas. I'm going to send out 5,000 mailers. It's going to cost me $1,000 to do that. That's everything. It's going to hit every neighborhood. I'm going to get all the crumb bunnies. I'm going to get whatever neighborhood I pick, I guess, right? Well, I only have to sell like less than 0.5%. Like, the numbers are extremely low to make. So I feel like we're pretty good at like predicting. That's, anyone can do this too. If you have a lawn care business, I mean, direct mailers are great because it's going to, and also you can link this back to social media. I do it all the time. Or, hey man, go to our website, click this QR code, go to our Facebook page from a direct mailer, and they go look at your Facebook page, they like it. Next thing you know, oh, that's right, you targeted them, they're pixel coded, so boom. And now you have that customer through a 20-cent mailer or whatever the hell it was, cost wise. And so I feel like there are ways to kind of tie them back to, it's like, well, if you ever happen to get on social media and you're interested in us, you're going to see us all the time. And if you go to our website, you're going to see us all the time. It's just, that's probably where people mess up a lot, though. They don't really link it all back together. Wouldn't you agree? They don't kind of tie all their marketing.
Now, have you tried the handwritten envelopes?
So I've actually looked at buying one of those damn machines. Those machines. Yeah. I haven't.
You know, the open rate is supposed to be like incredibly much more powerful than that of just a regular mail, and it makes sense. Have you ever read the Boron Letters?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, incredible book that's about that. He was the king of direct mail, and he was in prison, and he was writing letters to his son Boron. And inside of the Boron Letters, you'll see each and every letter that he wrote to Boron. And it's like literally the most comprehensive copywriting course that you'll ever take. And on the back of the letter, Boron, who is, he had since died. So Boron, on the back of the letter, he writes down what his takeaways were for that specific letter when his father was in prison. And he was the king of he was in prison because of direct mail. He made so much money,
Damn.
because of direct mail. And he would do things like, number one, always handwritten letter on the front, right? Because the open rate was that much higher. The second thing, he would do things like he was selling land in Hawaii. And back then, whenever you used to sell like co-ops, right? And he would enclose a little bag of dirt in there. So when you opened up the letter, there was like a little baggie of dirt stapled at the top. And I mean, okay, so you get a handwritten letter, then you open up the thing and there's a little baggie of dirt stapled at the top. How can you not fucking read that?
Right?
Right?
What the fuck's this about? Yeah.
Yeah. How can you not fucking read that? And, and he was one of the kings of spacing, the copywriting, making it eye candy, right? Because people don't understand that. They're like, why do you put all these spaces on? Because it's easier to fucking read. It's easier to process. It's eye candy. You want your copywriting to look like eye candy. You don't want people to look at it like one big glob of fucking words, because immediately our brain says, well, I don't have time for that shit.
Yeah.
And,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was going to say I've done something kind of weirdly somewhat similar as far as the mailing of dirt, and this sounds nuts, but it also works. I didn't necessarily do the handwritten part, but I think it was like it was like 100 we mailed out, right? And this was a different business in the gutter company, but it would work for really any business. And let's just say if you were wanting something very simple, like, hey, I'm looking for a phone call from you, or would you just go to our website and check this out? And this sounds insane. It's kind of like the rapport reciprocation. If you put a $1 bill in that envelope, go to the bank, get 100 crisp $1 bills, have your letter made out, whatever, hand sign it, stick the dollar in there, and make that part of the obviously conversation where it's like, look, hey, I know you're busy and this isn't much. I'll give you $1 if you go to this website. I'll give you $1 if you give me a phone call. It's kind of gimmicky, I get it, but I should have probably tracked the rate on that. But it was a pretty solid amount of people that were like, I mean, they're probably thinking this is fucking dumb. It's $1, but where's my phone at? You're like, I'm gonna go ahead and call this guy real quick. And I mean, what did it cost?
What's the law of reciprocity as well?
That's it, man.
It's the law of reciprocity. Yeah, that's one of the laws of persuasion is reciprocity. And they've even found that to do something very, very simply, like let's just say they did a test where an individual would walk into his office with his coworkers, and he would always buy him like coffee and things like that. For like 2 or 3 days in a row, he would buy him like a 50-cent coffee, and he ended up spending about $5 or something like that, over about a week's time. And he came to all of them and needed like a $50 to $100 sponsorship on some sort of charity deal that he was doing. And in normal cases, years before, like he would barely get anybody sponsoring it at all. But because that law of reciprocity, that 50-cent cup of coffee that he continuously brought in, almost every person paid him back like 100 times of what that cup of coffee cost. And they also found one of the studies, this is very interesting. The word because is such a powerful word. They would literally talk about this where they done studies where people would be standing like in a corporate office waiting to use the printer. And an individual would come up and try to skip in front of the entire line and use the copier. And he would give a reason like, hey, I'm late, I need to go. And people just be like, tough shit, right? Get to the back of the line. So are we. We've got things to do too, right? And they said that he had a 60% chance of getting to the head of the line when he walked up and said, because I need to get this done now. Something about the word because triggers us to back down and let somebody go ahead of us. And they ultimately broke it down to like our parents when we were growing up. We would ask them something, be like, why do I got to do this? And they look at us and go, because. And we would immediately be like, oh shit. And we would back down. There was like all of these different, if you guys haven't checked it out, it's, what is it? The law or the 6 or 7 laws of persuasion.
Okay.
And it's a book that talks about that. And that was one of the persuasive words that you want to use in your copywriting and all this kind of stuff. You should do this because,
absolutely,
and then go on to exactly, whatever call to action or whatever thing that you want them to take action and do.
I love it.
It's just incredible. Some of the little things that you can do to make a big impact, just like sending that $1 bill inside of that letter ignites that law of reciprocity, and people will get it and they'll just feel like, man, well, I got to read the letter now. I mean, he gave me $1.
I owe it to them. Yeah, why not? I'll give them a call.
If you would have handwritten that front envelope and took time to do that, or bought the machine that does that, that would have probably even increased, because some people probably just threw the dollar away. They didn't open it at all.
Right. Oh yeah, that's a good point.
The key is to make it look like it's not spam. That's almost the key to everything, like the key to your ads, the key to all this stuff. Now, there is times when you got to dramatically shove an offer down people's throats. You can't be too sneaky about it. But there's also times that you got to be very sneaky about it. And you got to draw people in, right? And you got to do it in a way where it just doesn't look like what it is that you're wanting. It doesn't look like you're asking for the sale, right? Because people love to discover. People love to purchase, but they hate to be sold.
That's it.
I know that. I love to purchase, but the moment that I walk into a store and somebody starts hovering over me about a TV or a couch or something like that, I fucking leave.
Oh yeah. They just hawk you like, oh, which one are you gonna buy? Yeah, I'm gonna sit here until you buy it right now.
Yep. Like when I decide that I need you to come up and talk to you, then that's cool. But as soon as people hover over me and try to sell me on something, I'm fucking out, man.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are like that. And I think it's more like that today than even what it used to be. Because now we get like online reviews. We got, we're trying to make up our own mind.
Yep. I think that the tyranny of metrics is what causes so much of that at a corporate level. Like I'm just making this up. Let's just say like Best Buy. That Best Buy, I guarantee you, they have some fucking spreadsheet that says, "Hey Tony, how many people did you see today? 15. Okay, well, what percentage did you interact with?" And they're charting everything. It's like that guy could be like, I don't know. It's like they're gonna check their boxes to keep their job. And the days of just walking up, going, "Hey man, how can I help you today?" or whatever, just having a good casual conversation, those are over with. It's all metriced out now for corporate America, that is.
It'd be cool, man, if they walked up and just said, "Hey man, my name is Joe. I just want to introduce myself to you. Hey, look, I know you guys are browsing around, but here's this little clickable remote. Just push it if you want me to come help you, and I'll run right over here." I'm gonna go where? I'm gonna stop looking at you now. I'm gonna go do something over here. And when you have a question or when you want to buy something, just push the button and I'm just gonna run right over here. Okay. Yeah. And then if you could please put it in a basket as you leave.
Yeah. It'd be so easy. And it would give them it would allow customers to have their own time to talk and make their decisions without being heckled or gimmicked out of the store. The thing is, it's kind of crazy in the marketing world, which I feel like this is where you have to probably get frustrated that there's people like come to you, they want to take it to the next level, and everything we've talked about today is so easy, it's cheap, and it can literally take your business from like you're barely getting by to a $1 million business like that. Simple, yeah. And those people are probably they're gonna end up saying, "Well, you're right," and they're gonna go pay somebody. But they don't know. They're probably gonna get bamboozled a few times when all they really should have done is just tried it themselves or try to outsource it themselves. Just do a few little things. Yeah. Anyway, that's kind of what kills me sometimes. I'm just like, man, it's just baby steps to get a massive impact.
I know. And we give away all that information on just about every aspect. Yes. I mean, even if you just listen to this podcast alone, from beginning to end, including this episode, like all the information is there, but you got to act. Yep, you got to
act.
And that's why I keep my guys accountable inside the inner circle, and we do all the coaching calls and things like that. And it's more along the lines of just a reminder. You know what I mean? All the time that, hey, you're part of this group. You're part of this movement. We expect to see you excelling. We expect to see you taking shit to the next level. It's not that they can't search around and randomly piece together all the information through all my podcasts and all that kind of stuff, right? Yep. They just want the quickest path to where it is. They want the cheat book. You know what I mean? And that's ideally what we're all looking for. And Dan, I think you explained it the best here on this podcast about how you were able to find a big company. And I'm assuming you guys even take your commercials and kind of model them based on the bigger companies.
Absolutely. Yeah. We just
done millions of dollars of testing.
Yeah. They pay someone
you don't want to do
millions
in testing. Yeah. I mean, you don't want to do millions in testing. You'll leverage their $1 million in testing and just take that and run with it. I think people get the mistake when we're all taught in school that we shouldn't be looking over our neighbor's paper. You know what I mean? Like, hey, keep your eye on your own paper, right? and do your own thing. Well, guess what? Once you get out of fucking school, you don't have a teacher looking over your shoulder telling you some dumb shit like that where you can't be looking over your neighbor's paper. And I cheated my way through school, so I was always looking at. I would just be like, "Hey, what's the answer for da da da?" Like, I didn't fucking study that shit. I didn't like it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I just try to figure out anything I could do to get by that in that motherfucker, man.
Yeah.
And I always had the right friends around me and stuff like that. You know, I didn't care to learn like half of that shit.
Yeah, like
And
when you were in class, would you sit next to the stupid ass kid or would you sit next to the smart kid? It's like, hell no, I'm sitting next to the smart kids. I need that to rub off on me so I can kind of peek over their shoulder, you know?
Yeah, that's it, man. That's exactly it. So anyhow, so you guys need to be like that as well. You guys need to be looking at what's going on out there. And I'm not saying rip off anybody's copywriting stuff like that. You're getting it totally wrong. Model your business on what's already working. You know, look at these things, model your business. You'll be light years ahead of if you actually try to do all the studies and all the tests on your own. And in fact, we actually talked about this in the Inner Circle group a couple weeks ago. I did an entire study and a tutorial on exactly like how you can plug in your competitors' websites and find out where they're getting all their traffic from, down to the very last little detail. And it's incredible the information that we actually have at hand and that we can use to gain all of this data to help make our decisions. So we're not just going at things blind. We got a playbook. We got a cheat. We got like a video game cheat guide that can help get us to the next level without all the spending all the money or having all the frustration that people go through trying to learn these things.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's which I've seen all the posts of the Inner Circle, and I can only hope that thing is jam-packed full, man.
It is.
The first day I met you, I was like, man, I know those guys, which you already doing big things anyways, but I mean, you've got some knowledge bombs you can drop.
It's jamming, man. It's jamming. So, well, Dan, it's about the top of the hour, brother, and we got a pretty decent podcast here. Lots of nuggets here for people to digest, implement, and apply to their businesses. So, Dan, is there any way people can follow you, reach out to you, any of that you'd like to drop on here?
Yeah. So I'm on social media. I try not to post a whole hell of a lot. I probably delete more than I post because everything's going to get me in trouble nowadays. But it's the Real Dan Ward on all social media channels. We also will have a podcast coming out soon. We got some episodes in the pipeline. It's going to be the Dirt Road CEO. And we're going to talk about everything from just fucking getting wild, having some crazy stories, to how to win in business and, you know, take names and kick ass, man.
Hey, that's awesome, brother. So anyhow, y'all, well, I appreciate you for coming along on this Marketing Revolution podcast. And don't forget to get over to the Marketing Savage Facebook group and make sure if you're listening to this on iTunes, make sure to subscribe and also leave us a 5-star review because we do Winner Wednesdays. Today is Wednesday where we're going to be giving away some cool shit to anybody who leaves a 5-star review on iTunes. So you guys are listening to this on Facebook, head over to the Marketing Revolution podcast on iTunes, leave us a 5-star review and get in on the giveaways. So anyhow, y'all, we appreciate it. And Dan, thank you for all of the knowledge, my man.
Absolutely. Thank you. You have a good day, John. I'll see you soon. Okay.
And as usual, we're going to see you on that next one.